Hi, I'm Lynn with AccuQuilt, and I am so excited to be here at Quilt in a Day with Eleanor Burns.
Thank you.
And today we're going to talk about a new series about bobs or block on board dies with Go dies.
I love the name Bob. He's our friend, huh?
That's
Really?
right.
Well, we're starting with my favorite quilt, the Log Cabin, because this is the first book that I wrote in 1978 on how to make a log cabin quilt in a day.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Yes.
And so now this is, we call this our 25th anniversary edition, which is just too funny because it's now 40 years. But nonetheless, I still love log cabin. So have you ever made a log cabin?
I actually haven't.
Aha, you're going to love it. Well, it just has a good story. The center is always red. That's the center of the log cabin, or the fire, the chimney. And it always has a light side. On mine, I do 3 lights, and that is the sun that's coming into the front of the log cabin. And then the dark side is the shadow behind the log cabin. And so it's just all about life itself.
Makes sense.
Exactly. So we have an even quicker way.
That's right.
It's quilting half a day on the log cabin. I just want to show you how I use the die.
All right.
I love it. This is one of our big dies. I like this, huh?
Right.
And this was designed by
Leslie Main.
Leslie Main, and it is huge. It will make, it's 12-inch blocks.
That's right.
That's 12-inch blocks, but actually 12-inch blocks are a little bit bigger than I like to use in my log home. It's more like this size. This is the size that we are going to be working on today. My blocks end up being 8 inches. And then you can go ahead and put it all together. And if you use my book, you can make cute little 8-inch blocks. But look at how many ways you can lay it together. Is that good? That's amazing.
It is. We were just talking earlier that you could make the same log cabin block and just make so many quilts with just that same block with all the different configurations.
You're right. You're right. Because that's what people do. They can't get away from it once they start. They're hooked. Okay, so this is what I've done. The cool thing is that it is divided right down through the middle. This die is divided right down through the middle. So this is what ends up making the block larger. I've chosen to just work with 1/2 of it so that I can make my smaller blocks. They're only 1.5-inch strips. That's pretty cool. But I'm just going to layer. I think I put about, looks like close to 6 layers. This is good. So I'm just going to put my strips on the bottom half and make sure that I have covered all of the blades. I'm looking good. This guy's sticking out a little bit. Okay, so do you have the mat for the top?
Yes, here you go.
Okay, so this is like so fun to use.
Right.
I taught this class at my log home in Julian. It was like, make a log cabin quilt in a log home, and we had so much fun.
That sounds pretty special. We're using the Go Big fabric cutter, which is hands-off, so it makes it so easy. All right, we could do a dance while this is going through.
Twist! Woo! Hey, we're swinging.
We are. And with these 10 by 24 dies, you have actually a couple of minutes to do
a long
like
dance.
that. That's right.
We could do a long dance. Well, while she's getting that ready, I'm going to show you how to lay out the strips. I actually cut my little 1.5-inch center. I cut it red. I'm so traditional. I have to have a red center. So I just use my rotary cutter and my ruler to cut the 1.5-inch red just for the center. And then I'm just going to pull those pieces right off the die and explain it as we go. Okay. So if you see, you start here at the center and you have 2 lights. And then you have 2 darks. Then you have 2 lights and 2 darks, and you just keep on going around. So I'm going to peel this off, and boy, I have a good start. Okay, so that's my 1.5, and beside it, when it's sewn, this is going to be 2.5. So that's my 2 lights, but now I'm just going to keep on moving across because they get an inch longer each time. So that's 3.5, 4.5. This is so fun. 5.5, 6.5, 7.5. And actually, I don't even need this last one for my block, but what I do is I keep it and I cut it smaller whenever I run out or screw up or whatever. Okay, so that is the whole light side. Each time going up 1 inch. So now you can just, oh, there we go.
I forgot. I need to do
You've had
that.
your training.
That's right.
So now this is the dark. And I have, I don't know, maybe 4 to 6. You can cut up to 6 layers.
Right, okay.
It's probably about 6, and just line it up on the die so that you get it all covered. So what do you think about getting all those perfect strips just like that?
It makes it so easy when you don't have to worry about measuring.
It really is.
Okay.
It really is. And what I did in '78 was I tore my strips. I'd just swing them in the air and have so much fun. I got a reputation real early in my life. Such a racy lady out there stripping. But I'm calming down.
All right, so here we got the darks cut.
Okay, and slide off
Slide the mat off.
Slide the mat.
Gonna lose a couple pieces there.
Cool.
Oops.
Yeah, you have to really slide the mat off carefully so all the pieces don't just fall apart.
Okay.
Sometimes I forget, but if you put pressure on the mat and kind of slide it, then it works. And just get rid of all the extra.
Help.
Oh,
Oops.
you're good.
Okay, there's your dark pieces.
So now we're going to just eliminate the first 2 because now we want to sew the dark. Now we're starting on the dark, and it's the same size, and we're going along to the next dark. So we need to have that piece right there. Okay? And you're going to put that right in there. So now it's 2, and now it's 2, and we've gone to right here. Now we're going to start into the light. And so it's right beside, it's the same size. And let's just push this one next. And then we just keep on moving to the next dark. Oops, wait, I skipped one. How did I do that? Let me see. Where did I pick it up from? It's a good thing it's still there. Okay, so now that's going to go the dark. And I'm going around the corner, 2 dark. And that's the same size. And you just keep on going, 2. So it's always 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And look, I'm getting right out to the end. And that's the last one. Let me see. And I don't even think I need that one. There we go. We got it all lined up.
All right, so that's great. You're just using you're just setting it all up so it's an easy assembly sew.
Right. So now I got to get it off here. So let me get my chair. It's a 1/4 of an inch seam. It's 15 stitches to the inch. And so now let's just go ahead and take these 2 strips right here. Let's just take, strips. I called them strips. They're not strips. They're just little pieces. So let's just start in the center. And I put a little jumper scrap in there. And you're just going to put your 1.5 inch light on the top. And whatever you're making, I think it's really good to make blocks in groups of 4 because you can always do so many interesting things. How many you're going to make. Maybe a king size would take 36 blocks. You can't do a king size in a day.
No.
No, forget that. Okay, so I'm just going to do one more so that I have 3 started. And then I'm just going to cut. And I want you to set the seam with the light on top.
All right.
And then just open and press toward the light.
Okay.
I've sent my little jumper scrap along there. Okay, so actually you can just go ahead and set that one back in your stack. Now when those are pressed and opened, this is the stack that we need next. So it's 2.5. And If my seam is good, it's gonna fit perfect. Okay, so how are you coming, girl?
Gotta make sure my iron is hot.
Yes, a lot of people don't like to iron, and I could just do it with my fingernail. Maybe we'll just do it with the fingernail, huh? So it goes real quick. Okay, that looks good. Okay, and then use your cutting gizmo. You can just cut them apart and stack them up. So remember, make your noise. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Whoop. There you go.
Okay, that's good. So now I'm just going to take this. I've got the seam pressed. So now what I'm going to do is just take and flip this piece right sides together to the 2.5. See, it's perfect. Ooh,
Perfect cuts. It's a great way to start.
Perfect cuts make better quilts. Listen, I didn't expect, but my last student that I had in my webinar, she came in and she was so excited. She said that she made her best quilt ever just because she did perfect cuts in the beginning. Okay, so then it's just like assembly line. You just keep on putting these right sides together and just assembly line. I have my sew straight on here, and I'm just using my 1/4-inch line, and it's going really good. It takes a long time in the beginning. You think you're not going to get off of it, but it doesn't take long. Okay, so I'm just going to put this back because I'm only doing 3. Okay, cut the threads, and I'm going to kick it up a notch. I'm just going to use my fingernail.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you put the 2.5 on top. You just open it. Ta-da! And just run your fingernail across there. It works pretty good if you have a good set of nails.
Well, I know that when I go home, I'm making a log cabin quilt.
Yeah, okay.
This looks very easy.
You like it?
Yes.
Okay, let's get your little cutter. We're going to cut them.
Okay.
Cut them apart. And so now I'm moving down along. I just used the 2.5 light. Now I need to have the 2.5 dark, and we're just going to see. You keep your stacks consistent, and see, that is going to fit right on there. So you just pick this up. Let's see, I'm not sure how far we're going to go until you get the idea. You can tell me when you get the idea, and I'll stop. But it's really fun. Okay, so you just keep on. Next one. And it is fun to do scrappy. I really prefer scrappy now. I think the quilts are more interesting. I used to do 3 lights and 3 darks on my in my first book with the yardage, but now, okay.
Okay.
We're good.
So we just keep going around and around.
Yep.
Matching them up.
I'm going to turn them over. I always turn them over. The strip that you just added is on the top.
Okay.
You just pick up your strip. You can use your fingernail or whatever, and you just keep on going. So now you cut it apart.
Okay.
I had the 3.5. I'm just going to pick up the next one, and you just
keep them in a stack.
Keep them in a stack. Yep.
There you go.
Okay, so I actually needed to pick up my, this one. I went too far ahead. So this one is just going to fit right on there.
That's great, and you can already see it coming together.
Yeah, and you just keep on doing. You make sure you put the light on the light side, the dark on the dark side, and when you're done, you just go, ta-da! There it is, and look at the back side, how perfect it's pressed. And from this point, you can do so many different layouts. This one is called Fields and Furrows.
Oh,
There's
well,
hundreds of ways.
and your book has I think, the best selection of different layouts that I've ever seen. So lots of choices.